Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
AEW. Oh, it's awesome. It's so good. I had such a fun time watching it. Now, calm down. It is in no way to devalue another excellent episode of wrestling television that also happened last night. That other show, is incredible.
Thumbs up.
Okay. We're all on the same team now.
Yep, we all know you've got AEW bias, so and it's all out there now.
Fox pays me. Someone said to me appearing on the FS1 video of WWE Backstage, "You've swerved Tony Khan then." I was like, yeah, I did that Randy Orton trick. Anyway, this match, Nick Jackson versus Rey Fenix, it was so well thought out, from just the innovation of the spots to then pull off those spots all seamlessly, to pace them perfectly, and it was a fantastic match. I mean, it's not really in the conversation for match of the year.
No,
that's
I don't think so.
That's not a slide on the match.
No.
That's more of applauding how many incredible matches there've been this year. I mean, the star rating system has been broken on multiple occasions. But this was a 4.5-star match.
It was great.
That sounds like a slight, doesn't it? 4.5 stars is amazing. This is the first time I've seen that sort of indie style done perfectly on a main stage.
On such a big stage.
You know, listen to the Wrestling Observer radio review.
Oh, I'd be very interested to hear what Big Old Dave's got to say about it.
He said, this match was announced on Monday. Here's a really good wrestler. Here's a really good wrestler. The audience is now so smart, they know this is going to be a good match.
Yeah. And actually, that's not too dissimilar to the way that wrestling has been booked, 50-odd years ago, which is just that here are two stars. We haven't got a storyline going into it, but you have got marquee names, and these marquee names are going to have a match, and you're going to want to pay to go and see that match. I've been saying this for like the last year or so now, I feel like, but it's a case of because Pentagon is so good, so charismatic, that he does overshadow Phoenix when they are a tag team together. And that's often why Penta is the one that's seen as the star of the tag team. He's the one that got the Impact World Championship run instead of Phoenix, who was also in that match. But when Phoenix is in a singles match and he is on his own, every single time, I feel like a lot of people stand up and go like, oh God, yeah, no, Phoenix is really good, isn't he? When he's not out there with Pentagon being that big charismatic guy, you're like, oh my God, yeah, Ray's great. I feel like Nick Jackson, he's the Rey Fenix of the Young Bucks.
Oh, I always think Nick Jackson's the best, though.
I know, but I think that Matt Jackson always feels like the star of the group.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Maybe it's because he's got the mutton chops. Maybe it's because he's got the darker hair. I don't know what it is, but Matt Jackson always feels like he's the star of the Bucks.
I'd say he's got better facials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And during like that period of time when they were being like really criticized for like, oh, you don't sell in your matches, or like you can't do that. All of his matches were based around that lower back, and he continued that storyline through so many matches, through so many different promotions, that it was just like, oh yeah, okay, so Matt's the wrestler of the group then, is he?
Yeah. Oh, I can't sell. Here's me selling one injury for 18 months.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And then Nick goes to shake his hand at the end as a show of respect. Phoenix, nah.
What a dick.
I already love AEW. I think that's quite clear.
Because you're biased.
This made me obsessed. Like I just want to. I want to read the company website. I want to see what those power rankings are.
I want to read that. You don't want to read that company website. It is a crap website. It has got nothing going on with that website. But I would say for this week's Dynamite, although I very much enjoyed it, it had the highs of Nick Jackson versus Phoenix, and it ended with the high of Moxley versus Allin. But there was a noticeable dip in the middle, particularly in sort of like the big top of the hour segment, which I don't think overly worked.
Well, let's get into this now. It was a pretty hard come down after this. Britt Baker's here, everybody.
I like Britt Baker. Yes. I do, and I really want AEW's women's division to work. But something is just not clicking. I guess it's a case of they're not doing any stories. I mean, Riho's been there every week. Do something with Britt Baker then. Do a storyline with Britt Baker because she's there all the time.
To show how little story there is, this match was based around number 1 going against number 2 in the power rankings, which is really, really hasn't been gone across properly on
I think
TV.
They're working hard to get it across, though.
And it was good for Shida. I just like watching her wrestle in the ring. But Britt Baker is not that engaging or empathetic, I find.
I've seen her do some really good stuff in AEW, but this was not one of those. She'd got the pin on Baker after a running knee strike.
So I just don't get why Britt Baker's ranked number one.
Which has won loads of matches on Dark and everywhere else. It's how win-losses work, mate. Is this another Scorpio Sky situation because it's not your pick?
It should be Phoenix.
Yeah.
Then we got the Diamond Ring Battle Royal, which is something...
Diamond Dozen.
The last two people fight next week for a diamond ring. Don't really know what that means. And
you win a diamond ring.
Yeah, well, I didn't know, yeah.
This is a total Cody thing. It feels very 80s of, hey, come see the local wrestling show. They're going to have a battle royal where the winner is going to win an 18-karat gold ring. And you, as this sort of like poor plebeian, to be like, oh, wow, an 18-karat gold ring. A
speedboat.
Yeah, that's an aspirational thing for me to get to. It's a very 80s method. And actually, just having a battle royal feels like a very 80s thing to have done. I did not really like this.
Hangman Page got his own entrance. Everyone else got generic music, including Pentagon, and neither does MJF. All these people come down in the break.
As much fun as the Billy Gunn thing was, I kind of wish it was someone else in the match, though. Like, so putting over some of your younger guys, make them look like stars, as opposed to being like, here is Hangman Page, who we've already established is one of our top prospects, and then everyone else gets the jobber entrance, and it's like, and is Billy Gunn, a star from the late 90s.
Yeah.
And it makes everyone else in the match then feel like unimportant, which I think is an error when it's people like Jungle Boy, Pentagon Jr., MJF. MJF hadn't been eliminated. He sneaked in and he eliminates Jungle Boy. So it's going to be Page versus MJF next week.
Which, I'm excited for that match. I think that will be really good. I'm hopeful and optimistic about where they're going to go from here. But this chapter and the way they got there, I thought was lacking. Now, so someone did say in the chat, the video's titled AEW is awesome. Why have they just been complaining for the last 20 minutes? I only just tuned in. And you missed us waxing lyrical for the opening 15.
I would say we were wanksing lyrical.
About Phoenix versus Nick Jackson. And then we did say the rest of the middle part of the show was lacking. It was just average to missed opportunities.
Yeah.
But then we got the main event. It's time for your main event. I said it's the time for your main event. Allen versus Moxley. Oh my God. What a match. And I'm there like, oh my God, this is my guy.
Yeah.
I love this guy. I want him to win. And then Mox's music hits and he walks through the crowd looking like the biggest mofo on campus. And I was just like, oh no, you're my guy.
There is something about Moxley, man. And then it was a match of just that. Allen would not give up.
Allen versus Moxley. Oh, someone's going to die. There's going to be blood everywhere, right? No, this is TV. This is PG. Well, no, it's TV 14.
TV 14.
They're not going to go crazy is the idea. They'd save that for the pay-per-views, which I totally agree with. It was an excellent match. There was a support WrestleTalk sign in the crowd.
Which I marked out a little bit. Only because with that and the FS1 thing, I was like, people like us,
man.
They
like us again. We stopped sharing website articles on the community tab. I think they like us again. Anyway, it was just all great.
It felt like a brutal beatdown, and it made Moxley feel like the biggest deal in this sport.
Yeah.
But it never damaged Allen.
And as soon as that's the 1, 2, 3, Mox just walks around being like, look at my swagger.
Look how good I am.
And that's the end of the show. Like, forking shirt balls. It's a 4 out of 5 show for me. It did have a very saggy middle. That can't be overlooked. But the opening match and the ending match were brilliant.
And I think that saggy middle did affect my viewership. So I'm actually going to go high middle of the roads.
It's very harsh grading we're doing because we've got high standards for AEW. Let's get on to your super chats.
Eduardo Surin says Chucky T and Trent with Orange Cassidy versus CM Punk with Oli Davis and Oli Davis with Luke Owen for the right to be called best friends.
I bought these wristbands in 2012 at a WWE house show. in the O2 Arena, and I got back last night, and I went back into. I've got a little like dressing up box of fancy costumes and stuff, and I thought I'd definitely thrown away one, but hopefully I'll have one of them.
Yeah.
And I found one. I was like, yes, and I was like, oh, there's another one. This sparked a lot of joy last night.
Was that the craziest invasion angle ever? This, like I said, was basically the run-in edition of NXT. You couldn't move for
NXT hit and run.
You couldn't move for people wearing a little red t-shirt or a blue t-shirt. The last bit of sort of business on the table was, well, who's got the advantage in the men's match? So that was the main event, which was Adam Cole versus Dominik Daiichi Kovac. The rest of the show was about stirring the pot to lead into Survivor Series. And the only thing that can happen now is Survivor Series has to come along, and that will finally settle all the differences between everyone, because everyone gets a bit fighty in November, don't they? Everyone, oh, it's November! Ooh,
I really love the brand that I've just been drafted
it's
to.
It's the No Nut November thing. That's it.
Really
Everyone's a bit hoity-toity because they're just
totally what it is. You know it on the head.
This tantric energy they need to release on each other. It's good that now you've had all the chaos, and we're going to build to this. We've got this pay-per-view now to finally settle all the scores, but also to give finally some structure to the damn thing. It's like, there are rules, people, to how you have combat. And this is it. I feel actually psyched for Survivor Series.
Me too.
Which I haven't been before.
Exactly. And the thing is with Survivor Series is there's always going to be a kind of shallow reason why people are fighting. Brand supremacy is a bit of a wishy-washy term. It doesn't really mean much. There's just been a draft. People aren't really loyal to their brands. However, when it's done correctly on screen, it still makes you excited.
There wasn't any sort of fear of, like, there was no gun shyness on this invasion to just go, literally, like, here's a dream match to kick things off. Here's Ricochet's back. He's in a match within 5 seconds with Matt Riddle of all people, which is awesome.
They gave us stuff that we didn't know we wanted. It was just stuff like that. They got all these stare-offs and moments in the match where you're like, oh, this is amazing. I didn't know I wanted this. And this is what makes a paper-thin reason for an invasion feel important. It's when you have these really fun moments, like these stare-offs that we got at the end of the show, that make you just go, no, I like this. Now this is really good now. It's those kind of stare-offs and those kind of moments that make this feel important even when it isn't.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it's actually insane, and it made me so excited for both War Games and Survivor Series. It's a perfect... That's exactly what you want from a go-home show.
It's then said that Kona Reeves is going to take on Matt Riddle. Kona Reeves is already making his entrance, and then he just dies. Because Ricochet kicks his head off. Riddle saunters down to the ring, as he is wont to do, flips off his flip-flops, and just goes like, all right, well, you then.
Yeah, I guess you. Sure, whatever. That's fine.
I just think this is a better way of doing an invasion. Just being like, well, I was here for a match anyway, so you are better than Kona Reeves. So why don't we have that?
Yeah, it's great.
They managed to both simultaneously again build Survivor Series and Takeover and finish a match.
Yeah,
and also deleted Kona Reeves,
which is even better.
Which Kona Reeves should be his new job. I think. Come to ring, take crazy bump from off screen. Ideally from Ricochet doing variations on that drop kick. So then we got the match of Undisputed Era. Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly versus Scott Dawson, Dash Wilder, The Revival, making their return to NXT.
What a bloody match. I'm a sucker for tag team wrestling as it is, and this was a tag team wrestling clinic. This was amazing.
There was a point before the hot tag where I was like, I wasn't quite sold because I thought that actually the build to the hot tag was a little too long.
Yeah.
After the hot tag, I was like, this is the greatest match I've ever seen. It was unbelievable. Revival also went for meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really good. And then they did the save spot
callback as well. What a callback to DIY. And the amazing matches that really put the Revival over in the NXT crowd's mind was the DIY Revival matches from way back when. And then they did DIY's finishing moves. It's a callback to be like, hey, we, DIY those matches. This is why we're great. Yeah. And I love the symmetry of Undisputed Era doing Revival's own game, because Revival always cut the ring in half and always prevent the tags, and that's what Revival do best. And it was Undisputed Era for the vast majority of the match were just cutting the ring in half and stopping the Revival doing what the Revival do.
But you got to see the Revival here playing the roles of kind of returning faces.
Absolutely, yeah.
And is the right booking for that kind of thing, because they didn't come out and they didn't give it the big I am. We're on SmackDown now. We're much better than here. We've forgotten all of our roots. They just came out and just did a match.
They're like, we don't like the Undisputed Era. They happen to be here. We want to fight them.
Exactly. They do high low, get the pin. 1, 2, 3. It's a done deal.
It's perfect.
What a match!
It was absolutely flawless. We then get Kathy Kelly, who's on the little platform thing.
The crow's nest.
Yep.
That's what it's called now, the crow's nest.
Crow's nest, okay. And she announces...
So she can announce when there's land.
Yes, that's it, land ho. And she says that it's going to be the triple threat match.
That is very rude about Kathy Kelly, and you should take that. Apologize to Kathy Kelly.
She's an angel. She announces that the triple threat between Pete Dunne, Damian Priest, and Killian Dane, the winner will go on to face Adam Cole for the NXT Championship.
Then we had Adam Cole versus Dominik Dijakovic in a ladder match to determine who gets advantage in the War Games match. The commentator said, has anyone in WWE history had the month that Adam Cole has had across 3 separate brands?
It's true.
And then I think Beth was the one who added on top of that. It's like, never mind the last month he's had. What about this 1 week where he's been on, he's on NXT tonight doing this match. He's got a War Games match, and he's got to defend his title on Sunday.
Yeah.
Adam Cole is the hardest working man in WWE at this moment in time.
Totally.
And if he's not the next Shawn Michaels, that is a travesty.
Right.
Because he should be.
Absolutely, he should be. And this is another match that just proved that. Adam Cole gets back up, climbs up the other side of the ladder. They both get to the top and start trading a few blows. Then Adam Cole just bonk on the briefcase with the head. And Dijak sells this beautifully, like he's knocked out, and he just falls. And he just straight back, straight through a ladder that was there.
Obviously, getting a clean win with the briefcase was really good. It's important with the Undisputed Era that they can't always just interfere in every single match. It does need to be, at some points, it does need to be, they are really talented and they are all deserving champions.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because otherwise, it devalues NXT as a product now to be like, we've got the clean sweep because we cheated.
Yeah.
But every so often proving the point that you are, there is a reason you're the champions.
Exactly.
It's really important.
Yeah.
The 3 members of the era are stuck between like 10 guys. Lovely. So everyone's down now. Adam Cole is now the only person left standing. And he's like looking out the ring and he's celebrating, sort of generally lauding it up. Seth Rollins slides into the ring.
Boo! People don't like Seth.
I don't know why. Like, with the theme thing, obviously. But
yeah.
Mostly
he's also not good at Twitter. Doesn't help.
He's not good at Twitter, and he was put into a bad position with the theme thing.
Yes, he was.
But you know what? Props to the man.
Yeah,
still comes out though, and I think it was weird to him. He got such a mixed reaction here because people were booing, but people were also like, "This is the first champion."
Yeah, this first NXT champion
ever NXT champion. This is the first time he's properly been back as well. Like, this is that is a really big deal in terms of NXT overall.
Yeah.
And I think the potential for the guys in NXT to go forward in WWE, because Seth Rollins is, to all intents and purposes, WWE's chosen top guy.
Yeah, 100%.
Even more so probably than Roman Reigns is now.
Right now, yeah. And then he's tuning up to go for a stomp.
He's going to burn it down stomps.
Which is when Ciampa's music hits. Soon as Seth moves, puts his arms out, boo! Got anything he does. Turn him heel, man.
Man
Go
can't
on.
move.
I know. And then they start brawling, yeah. And the thing is, though, there isn't like a conclusive end to it. It was like, here's a forearm, here's a knee, end of show. It was like, oh, well, I want more now. And it just kind of ended in the middle
I think they ran out of time. WWE have since released the clip of the finish of what actually happened after NXT went off the air. And there's a moment where they're facing off again, and Ciampa just goes, well, get out of my ring, to Rollins. And Rollins goes, okay. And gets out.
Okay.
And then Ciampa's music plays, he gets to celebrate with the crowd. So it was like, and then Rollins is walking down the ramp, they're sort of staring at each other. So there's the feeling there that is Rollins the last guy.
Oh, for Team Ciampa?
For Team Ciampa.
Oof. That would not go down well with an NXT crowd.
You've got to call in the big guns, mate.
That would not go down well.
Overall, I think this was a 5-star episode of NXT. The only match I wasn't really sold on was the Dakota Kai Kaylee Ray match. Everything else on this show was just high drama. I came out of this show excited for this weekend's worth of wrestling on all the pay-per-views.
As did I. And I think something that's very good on this show that WWE tend to struggle with is making a show feel chaotic. They often say it's chaotic, but they generally don't make it feel chaotic. And this felt very chaotic because you didn't know what was going to happen next.
Beyond Becky Lynch walking out at the beginning, that was the only time where you were like, well, Becky Lynch is here. She's going to do something. The rest of the time, it just felt like all bets were off and anything could happen. And that was a wonderful feeling to have watching a wrestling show.
Exactly right.
Please click the videos that have appeared on the desk to watch more awesome WrestleTalk stuff if you are watching on catch up, and a button here that might turn you into a patron or do something else. It might subscribe you to the channel. I don't know what button they're going to choose. I don't do this bit. Anyway, I've been Fakidor, Laurie Blake. This has been Chopper Pete Quinnell, and that was NXT.